You like comics? You bet we do. How about artwork? Yeah, we fucking love that too. You like movies? Whether they are old or new. How about streaming? We watch that fucking shit, it's true. But it's comic book art that gets us all fired up for the all-time great. So let's buckle up. Hear me out, I'ma tell you how it all goes down on the Blacklist. Underground.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome. As you can see, this is not a standard episode of the BLU. I am not the person that is normally here. There is no guest, which is customary. If you're on the Patreon, you may have seen it. If you're not on the Patreon, you definitely haven't seen. We made an announcement that essentially JC is having a family emergency right now and is not available to record your more traditional customary episodes of the BLU. So Zach and I decided that to fill the space, what we would do is do our own little gap show. And we decided the coolest option we had that immediately available was to go over some of the extensive original art collection that Zach has piled up in his office.
Yeah. So yeah, for those that are big fans of gaps, this is going to be a boon for you.
I knew I shouldn't have called it that.
What about gaps, huh?
I knew I shouldn't have called it that.
So, everybody wish JC well. He has some sad family stuff he has to work through. So we're just going to have a fun little BLU show and talk about the artists I've met and maybe some stories behind it. And, I got some epic shit. I can say shit on this. I can say shit times 6.
You could say whatever you want on this show.
So, Clara, somebody was giving me the piss the other day, just that, what is there, one show I haven't given away a free book yet?
It's 2 so far over on PG-13.
So I'm 100% better than I thought I was, is what you're saying.
It might have actually been 3.
I'm 200% better than I thought I was. So, okay, everyone. Oh, here, by the way, merch.
By the way.
Where are we?
There you are. Oh, no. Perfect.
Yes. Look at those 2 good-looking men.
I know, right?
Okay. So, you want me to just jump in?
I just wanted to throw out, before we start looking at this stuff, Zach has been telling me regularly about his pile of original art and how valuable it is and how he hasn't done anything with it and how he really needs to show it off for some time now. So I have been looking forward to this. This will be very interesting to see.
Yes, Zach's going to show off everything. Each segment, I will disrobe one article of clothing. So everybody wins. Let's digress, everyone. So first piece I have as a placeholder, this is 2 of the famous dogs of the Howard Shannon family. They're both deceased. Ronan, who's the greatest dog that ever lived, who used to go to he literally had like a job with my wife. He went to work with her every day. He greeted every single person that came into the hospital, and just a gentle, beautiful dog. And this is little Oliver. He was a miniature poodle that my wife found at like PetSmart that was in extremely bad shape. Fixed him up, and then instead of she ended up keeping him, and that was my first small dog of all time, and he acted like no poodle. He was phenomenal, quite a character, and he's the image and namesake of our pet CBD, Oliver's Oil. So he lived till he was like, we don't know his exact age, but he is like 18 years old.
Little old man.
Yeah, Ronan died when he was, I think, 13. Sad time. But regardless, I had Nick Runge for Christmas present. Nick Runge is a good buddy of mine. He painted this up for us. And I have several Nick Runge pieces throughout the years. I wanted to show some of his evolution. This is the first when Nick Runge was like 20-0, his very
Whoa.
first convention, he like didn't have a table, and I saw this kid wandering around, and I had like this gigantic table. This is when I was doing Aliens. And it was like a blizzard out. Nobody was at the stupid hotel con because barely anybody could get there. And Nick was, again, just this young, nervous kid. So I just grabbed him and sat him down in a chair next to me because he had no table. They'd flubbed or something.
Wait a minute. Is this how you met then?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's amazing.
I saw him this poor kid wandering around without, I knew he didn't have a table. I could hear it wasn't an argument. You know, Nick doesn't really argue, but, you know, he didn't know what to do. And I had this giant table and I was like a guest. So I just sat him. He's now my fucking table mate. So I got him, set him up. I set him up next to me and we traded art. His first real art trade, or at least with a stranger pro or whatever my ilk was when I was doing Aliens. It's probably more popular than I am now. But yeah, he used to do phenomenal. This is when he was doing his Drew Strews and stuff.
Yeah.
And this led into a shit ton of movie posters.
Yeah. Man, that's incredible. I had no idea. Like I had no idea that was how you met. What an incredible story.
Yeah, and like that night we were like the bar, there's like one table at the hotel bar, and you know, of course I'm holding court there like an asshole, and I just see this kid standing on the perimeter with a beer, just kind of standing there. So I sat him down at the table too, and we just got along. And
that's awesome.
He was moving to Denver from Fort Collins, so we just became friends, and I taught him how to work out and stuff like that. And, he used to come over like twice a week, and he worked on the original Cape with me. He did some minor inking, not a ton of work, but he did some. And then one probably the best superhero book I ever did, but it got shelved because of the New 52 at DC. But I did a King Shark book where he helped ink me as well. And then he did his own image book, or not image, IDW, and you could just tell he has too much fine artist in him. He's not a product. He's a grinder. He puts out artwork a lot. He just hates the comic book industry more than anything on planet Earth. So
I don't blame him.
Yeah, so he left and he wanted to become a gallery painter. Now he's Nick fucking Runge, the painter, instead of just some obscure comic book artist.
The guy who talks about Frazetta on the BLU.
Correct. This is a present I got from my wife, from Nick.
Oh, nice.
It's she worked right before I met my wife. She did an externship in England, Southwest England, for a donkey sanctuary.
Wow.
And she absolutely loves donkeys. So look at that motherfucker, huh?
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
She loves donkeys, huh? Interesting. Why didn't she go into veterinary medicine? Is that just
my wife?
Or farm, agricultural.
Well, she spent the first 22 years of her veterinary career being a veterinarian. And
you know what I meant.
She debated large animals, small animals, hard.
Yeah.
Well, let me burn through a couple here.
Okay.
Here's a Tom Rainey did a pinup for me for a Wobbly Yonder. He drew Scram. Awesome. He's an old X-Men artist, unbelievable artist, true traditional comic book guy that, you know, can move. All sorts of shit. This is from Stuff Legend by Charles Wilson III. This is an actual original, not a print or anything. Whoa. He does all this pencil scale. So
what are these grays? Is that pencil?
Pencil.
What?
It's insane. If you can see this original, it is. How is that? You can see even little scritch marks and stuff in it.
Yeah, the drapery I get, but like the very soft lines in the hair there.
Yeah.
Like that's wow.
Charles Wilson. When Mike and I first were talking about Wobbly Yonder, he was starting the Stuff Legend and hired this kid right out of school. I think he went. What's the one up in Jersey? The Kubert School.
Oh yeah.
And Mike was asking me, "Is this guy legit?" And I was like, "I really think he is." especially with object stuff. So it works well with that story because it's toys and that come to life. Oh, here's my longtime friend, Matteo Scalera.
Oh, nice.
So look at this shit.
I didn't know you had Mateo stuff.
Yeah,
Mateo's
been
awesome.
buddies with him since he had this like crazy animated style.
Yeah.
So,
man, that's nice.
Yeah, I may have one or two more of his pieces.
When did you meet him?
In person, shit, I don't know. We were friends like on DeviantArt forever.
Oh, okay.
And then we started meeting at cons, I don't know, 10 years ago or something.
Okay.
So we always hit it off. He's really good people.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Yes, very cool dude. So we'll get this gem out of the way.
Is that
So here's my James Aaron that he personally drew for me. James and I knew each other on DA for years and years and years when he was really young. And he gave me one of the biggest flattering moments of my career. How I got this page is he came up to me at ECCC, Emerald City Comic Con,
right.
One of the better ones. And, he was like, we're talking, just talking shop like pros. And he wanted to do an art trade. So I'm like, fuck, sure, let's go, man. This is just right on the verge of his stardom. He was getting work, but he wasn't the powerhouse he is now. Right, Everybody knew he was going to be a powerhouse. He just wasn't it yet. And so he took a Cape page, the page where in the original Cape series, the mom's kind of chased by Eric and she crashes into the trees. Mm-hmm. He took that page where the little Toyota's crashing into the trees, and he told me, I never understood how to draw speed until this page was posted. And he wanted that page from me. So because there's very few people that draw speed. He can kick my ass at speed now. But yeah, that was very flattering that my clunky speed lines, whatever it did, helped him inspire the madness he does now. But this is one of my prized possessions. If you touch it, I will bite you.
It's gorgeous. I knew it was Heron the second I saw it, even back there on the pile with those tones on them.
Let's do a quick one. Here's old Ryan Otley on Invincible. Those are my inks. We were talking. This is when I first met Ryan. I was doing Aliens, and he wanted to trade a page with me, and he was already starting to get pretty famous. Right. But we hit it off, and now we haven't talked in talked in a couple of years, but we used to be pretty good buddies. He wanted me to start inking it to see what I look like over him. So I got a little inking done, but of course my schedule, I forgot I was even going to ink this. Maybe I'll finish it up one day and we'll have an actual Invincible page inked by the most beautiful man that ever lived.
Of course, the most behatted man.
Here's a prized possession.
Yes.
Even has the Tim Townsend stamp on the back.
Oh, wow.
Probably the best Arthur Adams inker ever, inking Authority that Arthur Adams did. But what's impressive about this page is it's censored. It never saw publication. They had to redraw it.
I was going to say, is this the censored one you were telling me about?
Yes, it is. And you can see it. They had to dumb it down a little bit, the violence here, which is weird. That's a editor making his or her job important when it really isn't. But yes, this is probably the most expensive piece I have in my litany. So you can see just crazy Tim Townsend marker work.
Yeah, that's marker?
Yes.
Whoa. How much is that worth, would you say?
Well, our J.C. Washburn threw out an absolutely batshit crazy number because I guess this is a sought-after page. When he found out I had it, he couldn't believe I was the one who owned this. And I got this through an art trade. It was when I was doing Clockmaker. This is the one of the first works I ever traded for that was a legit piece.
You got this trading from Clockmaker? Your
Yes,
first book?
my first published comic book.
Shut up.
So the guy got like a page or two from Clockmaker, but he also had me draw a commission the Rhino from Spider-Man. So I drew this like crazy one, like 11 by 17, and he came back the next day. He was so happy with what I drew him. He just gave this to me. So I don't know the fucking dude's name. It was just two guys walking around, and he wanted a commission for me, and then like Clockmaker, and was like, hey, we'll trade this page and plus some money. And I was like, man, I mean, this is the first time I was making money in comic books. Not making money because Jim Kruger does not fucking pay his artists. Piece of shit.
Yep.
So I drew 4 issues for free.
He might pay you eventually.
And but serendipity struck. Again, I don't know who the guy was. He just gave the next day, I guess he was just so happy I worked hard for him, and whatever deal he got, you know, it's pretty cool. I feel pretty sheepish owning it, but yeah, this is worth thousands and thousands.
Where was the censoring? Was it the head explodey there?
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty certain that's it because it was too graphic, I think the guy said, and then they redrew it, and I had the book, and I was looking at it, and it's still graphic. It's just not like right in your face,
right.
You know?
I can't imagine it being much less graphic. Like
so, yeah, it was authority. So, you know,
well, that's amazing.
Pretty violent book. I just wanted to show this because I had a good chat with Jeff Darrow one day, and he gave me this print and drew a little like lizard on it for me.
Because that's what you made him think of, a tiny lizard.
Hey, don't ever say tiny lizard when you're addressing me.
I'm calling you nothing but tiny lizard from now on.
I got some Mike Huddleston and I used to be buddies back in the day. So here's his Gen 13. He gave me some of his character sheets, and I think I gave him a page from Aliens. And what is this? Here we go. Here's an actual page. Mm-hmm. So you can see that classic dry brush he does. And
yeah. But
this is right before he started painting.
Okay. Because I was going to say, it seems kind of nib heavy. Is that a lot of nib? What's he using?
Let me look. Brush. There's a pen.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a nib. I can't remember. I watched him ink this fucking page.
Okay.
Live at like Wizard World Chicago or some shit.
Wow.
I think it was this page or something akin, and we traded art. We had a great time sitting next to each other.
That's awesome.
I did a pinup for his and Hester's book. What's it called? The Coffin. So,
okay. Oh, that's right.
Which was oddly a popular piece for me. We'll get through some of these lesser known, but here's Julian Yates, who was the assistant on Wild Blue Yonder.
Oh, yeah.
British friend of mine. He did all the like biological, like mechanical drawings for the Gamora DVD box sets. So if you bought like the Gamora, or I think it's Gamora box sets, all the animals, it like shows like what they have. And if you see the printed one, it just says like human flesh stomach, rocks or something like you can like, you know,
it has like cow stomach,
foot thruster or something like that, you know.
Right.
And he made great T-shirts out of this.
That I bet. Yeah, that's Gamera.
You're Gamera.
Your face is Gamera, tiny lizard.
Yeah, Gamera, don't. Here's one of my favorite cartoonists, longtime buddy Noah Van Sciver. He traded Spider-Man for me because my wife really wanted an original from him. Of course, he's one of these cats that draws in every square inch of a page, so I don't know how the fuck I'm going to display it. But if you don't know Noah Van Sciver, I think he just won an Eisner, got nominated for his Phantom Bukowski.
Oh, wow.
Phenomenal books. He does a book called Blammo that's A+, and then a million little side books about dating and just being a dork and stuff. Here is some early Daniel Warren Johnson, before he got super famous, we were buddies online, and not that that's changed. I just the guy's probably busy. So anyways, he wanted to draw a pinup for Wildly Yonder.
Yeah.
So he did a tribute, and then we traded artwork afterwards.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I remember that pinup in the book. It made me cry a little bit. That's a very it's a beautiful
Poor Tug, yeah.
I know.
It just shows you how badass Daniel was. You can see he's just starting to get his style down at the time, and it's beautiful.
But then immediately after I felt those emotions, my brain went, they did not find him.
No, he was Cinder, so that's just
yeah. Just
a pile of rocks they're crying over. Here's my JP Leon.
Whoa!
Condolences to his family and stuff, as he just, well, at least for me, unexpectedly passed. One of my all-time favorite artists, JP Leon. I got this, as you can see, the plane crash, because I knew I had a plane crash coming up in the Cape. And when I traded this for him, he was like, "Oh, why'd you choose that page?" And I just said the explosion. And he was so happy I bought this page. He like knocked $100 off of it. And he gave it to me for $50. So,
what?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, that was only $150 to start with?
Yes.
From JP Leon?
Yes. Because he didn't think this page would ever sell. And I'm like, this is one of my favorite things you've ever drawn.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. So lettering on it, you know.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, the actual lettering, like you don't see that anymore.
See, he even signed it to me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, this fucker ain't ever leaving my possession.
I can't believe you're sitting on all this stuff. I mean, I know some of these are special gifts, but man, this is some awesome stuff.
Oh, you haven't even seen shit yet.
Okay.
This is a German artist named Jonas Scharf.
Okay.
Who's a long time, he was a fan and now a friend, but you can just see this beautiful, I think he'll be a star one day. I think if he is in the US, he'd already be a star. He just does unbelievable work.
The ink wash. Is that ink wash and tones? Like those tables seem like very flat.
Yes.
Is that tone? Okay, yeah, it is. I can see it now. Okay.
Puts a little heron zip that's really popular on it now.
Yeah. What if he's German? They're so much better to comic artists in Europe, though. Like, why isn't he successful there?
It's funny. Well, I mean, look at me. I can outdraw fucking almost anybody in our industry. Almost anybody. There's some true savages, but nobody knows who the fuck I am because I haven't drawn Wolverine, you know, with his confetti bones or whatever they're made out of now. Are his claws made of cheese whiz now? I'm the best there is at what I do. And I can rock a Super Bowl party.
I know, it's delicious.
I will cheese up your cracker, motherfucker, Bub. Hey, Bub. Hey, Bub, need some cheese whiz?
This is a vital mission.
When I'm not busy fighting sentinels. Like, there's no cracker uncheesed. So this is a Russian artist. I can't remember his name, but he is pretty famous. I'm drawing a blank right now. He was in a bad money spot, so I gave him $100 to draw me some Wobbly Yonder, and he drew this like 19-inch monster for me. That's just stunning. But very, very unique. I cannot remember his name. Apologies. Most people are probably yelling it at the screen right now.
Yeah. Sorry.
Here's an old Dustin Nguyen with an old friend Armando inking him. So this is the Wildstorm days. So when he's doing all that trash.
Wow.
Obviously way different than he is now.
Yeah.
This is Rob Gilroy, a Chew page. I traded him for Cape. So buddies with the writer Layman. Ooh, another Charles Wilson. He did a cover for Wobbly Yonder, and I traded him for it.
I haven't seen that. That wasn't in the book.
It was.
It was? Okay, probably not the printing I have then.
But yeah, there's a couple printings. We used it as a filler pinup, but also it was a cover for one of the issues. Ooh. One of my favorites. This is Top 10 by Gene Ha and who did breakdowns? Xander Cannon, my longtime friend Xander Cannon.
Oh,
But
wow.
Gene Ha, after seeing his originals, I think I traded Xander Cannon for this.
Uh-huh.
So Gene Ha has talked to me before. I don't think he gives a fuck about me. Nice guy. But you can just see the absolute madness
Yeah.
that this guy draws. But after seeing his pages, it helped me realize I don't have to draw 11 by 17 with my style.
Right.
So we don't have the same identical formatting, but it's pretty close compared to. I draw at about 112% or 115%, and this is probably 115 to 120. So
yeah.
Gene Ha, all that crazy nib work.
I was gonna say it looks like pen or nib. That's awesome.
Top 10, one of my all-time favorite books. Here's a piece I don't even know how much it's fucking worth. I traded Heaven's Devil's art to Jay Leiston for it, who inked this. Look at this, an early Greg Tocchini, Young Thor. So
wow,
it's just an absolutely batshit crazy piece.
Yeah, but gorgeous. It's one of those ones. It's just somehow it's not too busy. It's just composed that well. I love
Tocchini, man.
Yeah.
Freak of freaks.
Yeah.
So
like the hatching in the random places.
Yeah.
And in those places.
And then it's a beautiful figure work too.
Yeah. Yeah, the angle on the face.
Subtle face.
Yeah. So minimal.
Yeah.
The anatomy is so subtle too.
The Jay Leiston, I know, I think he sold my page I gave him or something. So, because somebody else had me like sign it or verify it. So I may have to sell this piece one day.
Yeah, it would be only fair at this point.
Yeah. So there's that. Oh, here's Dave Johnson.
Oh, wow.
Here's a drink and draw sketch. But the cool thing about this, on the back are the breakdowns for one of his famous Punisher covers.
Look at that. Wow, those are his breakdowns?
Yeah.
That's how he do?
Yes.
That's insane.
He's an insane person.
Wow.
Let me Here's Eddie Campbell, who did From Hell with Alan Moore. He took a shine to my wife because she was buddies with Chris Staros, and we knew the Top Shelf guys, but he was at a couple shows, and he and my wife started getting along pretty well, so he painted one for her, and there you go.
That's awesome.
It's the actual Eddie Campbell original art. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Those of you that don't know him can go fuck yourself, as Clara would say.
As I say all the time.
So John Yates, the Brit I was talking about before, he did a birthday piece for me because he drew Ninjago. It was like he's like a 5 times New York Times best-selling author because he is the artist on Ninjago for a couple years.
Funny.
So like if we go to a show like Free Comic Book Day, he'd be 1,000 times more popular than me when he was doing Ninjago. Yeah. Lines would be out the store around the block and stuff.
Wow.
So I think he actually ended up hating that job.
That's how it goes though sometimes, isn't it? When you get stuck in something like that?
Yeah, he didn't want to do kids' books.
Yeah. Yeah.
So back when old Mr. Sean Murphy and I were good buddies, we used to do cons, and if it was slow, Sean can't. He's a Rolling Stone collecting no moss. So Sean used to draw little cartoons to fuck with me because if you can imagine, one day I was the one who was getting Sean jobs, and I was a little bit more popular. So I'd be like signing or something, and he'd do shit. We played Halo nonstop together to the point where we invented our own game called Smashy Jeepy.
Were you 5 at the time?
No, but it was the greatest game of all time. You can even ask Sean about it. Anybody out there, just say Smashy Jeepy. I guarantee you're going to get a smile. It's still the greatest game of all time. So he would do this. He would just constantly, this is what me playing, whatever the subject was, it was Sean doing it and then Zach doing it.
Yeah.
And then here's Zach. I'm throwing grenades on my own face. So
Skipping around.
I have a bunch of things like this from Sean. Back, we were good buddies for a very long time. He used to even live with me for better part of a year. Here's some, we used to trade every book too, but we never took the best pages. We always tried to do like side pages so we didn't fuck the person's income up.
Right.
But I always loved this bus shot.
I always loved that bus shot too. Yes,
he
I
turns
that
the
one.
corner in the perspective, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
He's so brave like that. Things come so naturally.
Yeah.
But despite being one of the worst stories ever written, Sean's artwork on this is just profound. It was a coming out party for him. I think he did it after Hellblazer, where he finally started to get some steam as an artist.
Yeah. Yeah, his Hellblazer was one of my favorites for a long time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
I do remember that page, though, and admiring the perspective and, like, especially the shadows on the floor. It's amazing.
Yeah, he's always been good at casting shadow. So here's our book we did together, Sean Murphy and I. And this is Outer Orbit.
Yes.
So this is them escaping the prison through the wine tunnel.
Oh, nice.
Because they brew their own wine at Honest Abe's prison and winery.
The wine tunnel.
So here's Sean recreating the scene that I drew for the cover, actually, for this issue.
Oh, okay.
So he kind of, yeah, so this is a recall from the cover I did, the actual story elements of it. And there's Crunk's mom coming in with the welding mask. And they'd made it. So
that's amazing.
One of my gems. That is actually being sought after for a director right now.
Yes.
So I may have to actually speak to Sean Murphy again. I'll wait to see if it happens first.
We will see. Whoa.
So this is from his, I did covers for this series. I got offered this job. It was Scarecrow, Batman Scarecrow Year One. But I'd already, DC was trying to get me back because I just quit DC, but I'd already started Shaun of the Dead. So I said, well, I can't draw it, but how about my inker, Sean Murphy, who was doing Vertigo work for me.
Right.
We're inking, and then we ended up doing Shaun of the Dead together too, by issue 2, because I herniated a disc in my back and it was hurting. But anyways, here's an early piece of Sean.
Amazing. I've never seen that one.
Yeah.
Wow, the hair. That is such a hard angle on the face. That's so hard.
So
wow.
Sean's good at hard things. Yeah. And then my ultimate crown jewel. And I got a ton of Sean Murphy work. I just picked out some.
Okay.
And here's my Mignola.
Whoa.
So I think from his second novel. So yeah, Abe Sapien and well, this obscure character.
Yeah, who knows?
So what happened was I just drawn the Hellboy resource manual.
Right.
And Atlanticon was really small.
Okay.
But they, well, not really small. It was a smaller show, but they're having me up as a guest. And of course I had to meet Mignola, who fucking he doesn't like anybody, but he did not take a shining to me. And I think a lot of it was just my talent level at the time. And he didn't know who the fuck I was, but they made me table with him at the fucking show. So I'm at one end, he's at the other. And I did terrible because everybody's waiting in line for him. And I'm just kind of sitting there with their fucking wet drinks setting on my artwork, waiting to meet Mike Mignola. But the con was a fucking disaster, and they didn't have a driver for Mike, and Mike doesn't drive, or at least at the time.
How did I watch that?
fucking con people. They just cash checks and I don't know, fuck their hands. Regardless, I saw him like bitching there right at the bottom as we're on our way out the hotel. And I just said, Mike, we can give you a drive. So for the convention, I became Mike's driver. This was right before the movie happened. He had just they'd just gotten their like $60 million budget or something for the first Hellboy movie. Wow. So it was fun listening to them talk about that and wax poetic and gripe about this or that, or just talk about how they're going to do the tail in the movie and things like that. It was fun.
Right.
And then he was just getting hammered. It was a shitty little con. So he was just like the bee's knees. Hellboy had just gone from popular to super, super popular at that time. It was just before The Third Wish came out. He's like getting wrecked, and he was like bitching about being hungry or something like that. So we went and got him a burger and a coffee, and he was so happy. And like 4 hours later, he just came up and just handed this to me with almost no words. He said, here. So he gave this artwork to me. And then later on, we were supposed to do an art trade that didn't work out. And a lot of it, I just think, is because Mike became too busy. Right. But he does technically owe me fuck it, I'll tell the story. So I drew the back cover of the Hellboy resource manual, and it was Hellboy with a fighting a ghoul, but underneath it I did this little kind of banner that had Abe Sapien with a magical chili pepper, and these like three skeletons were just kind of in awe around them or worshiping the pepper or something like that. And I can send you the pinup I did for that. Mike, I drew it, but Mike Mignola liked that image so much, that little drawing I did, he had me do like a full size pinup, like a 10 by 15. That, and so I redid it, and he said, do this for me and I'll give you any page you want within reason. Obviously just don't grab a cover or something like, or Hellboy crescendo shot or something like that. Right. So it was like 6 months later, not even 6 months later, 4 months later, I'd already given him the piece, and I'm sure it became the urinal cake at some point in time. Yeah. But I did my best, and he seemed happy. But I was waiting for Third Wish to come out. I told him I wanted one of those pages because it had I was a huge surfer at the time, and I loved all the water shots. And I'm like, fuck it, I won't even grab a Hellboy page. Right. Just grab a whale or a fish. So I think he was having a bad show. I was sitting next to, oddly enough, this is Wizard World. I think this was a Wizard World Chicago too. I used to do it every year. And they had me sitting next to Gary Gianni, who, holy shit, is he an artist. Wow. And he was promoting his like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea self-published book. And I watched him sell out of that, which was super cool. Taught me a lot about, being able to do any format and whatever you want with your career. But we hit it off. But he and Mike Mignola are good friends. So Mike was, I think, having a bad show. So he'd like show up every like 2 hours when he didn't have a commitment, and he'd just gripe about this or that. And, but him and Gary would kind of cheer him up and stuff like that. And I'm sitting right next to it. So I wait like to the last day, because he's just always a little bit grumpy, and I don't want to fuck with him then. So finally, the last day, I was like, well, shit, I got to get my page. So he had given me like these folders with just print out of the pages, all the entire series, Third Wish, which was kind of cool to see before it got colored and everything. And I just said, hey, Mike, I think I want this page. And it was just like some fish and coral. And he just turned to me and he goes, not for sale. And that's the only words he said to me. And I was like, okay, what do I do? And this is after I'd watched him have some unfortunate interactions with fans throughout the show. So I just made it. I was a little bit more meek back then as far as around other pros. I didn't consider myself one at the time, and I just ate it. So I never got my second Mike Mignola page. I mean, he's not a bad guy. If I ever told him the story, I'm sure he would give me something. He's that type of dude. But I feel way too gross, and it's been way too long. So now it's just a funny story.
Yeah.
Mike yelled at me when I asked for my page. So, but
well. Yeah.
I'm honored. He came back. I just did Hellboy. So after all these years, I always promised myself, just give me one more shot at Hellboy when I'm a pro, and I'm not going to let you down.
What do you
and
think?
Mike did. Wrote me an absolutely beautiful story.
Yep.
So
absolutely did. What do you think? What do you think he's using for white there?
Oh shit, I don't even know. It's so thick when you see his whiteout. It might be fucking whiteout because it's like a relief drawing. You'd see these drawings and you just see like a fucking quarter inch of fucking white on. This was a tail that he drew, and then yeah,
took it out.
So you can't. I can see it. You can if you put it up to light, you see the tail he drew, and he just whited it out.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it's a beautiful tail too, just poking through the fog. But
yeah.
Anyways, I got my two favorite Hellboy characters in one piece.
Yeah.
So this is probably my biggest jewel because he was the most influential artist of my life I've ever met. And I still think he's the greatest creator of comic books ever. So
I have to agree with you there. I mean, you know the story for me too. Like Hellboy is what got me into comics. And I drew an Abe Sapien and sold it to Elliot Rahal at like a comedy and comics night in Minneapolis when I was living there. And that was the first time I met him. And we went on to draw or to do Midnight Vista together. So Mignola stuff brings people together.
Mignola. As long as you don't want a page from him, he brings things together.
Yes.
Oh no. So this is one of Sean's animator friends. Sean, when he first moved to LA, was trying to get into animation, and he became friends with this cool little surly animator dude that like was rocking and rolling forever. He was one of these freelance animators that got work everywhere, like Nickelodeon and then this and that. Right. And we were in Vegas at the Star Trek thing. And that was when I was doing Star Trek covers, and Sean had just done a Star Trek book. So they were treating us like gold at the old Star Trek experience. It was called the Star Trek Experience, I think. But I would always eat Captain Janeway's cob. So that was my favorite salad. But I did enjoy eating her cob. Janeway, she does it for me. So anyways, I thought this was one of the greatest cartoons I've ever seen.
It's very funny.
A dark cartoon. I have no hope. I was like, I'm taking that, sir.
As every cartoonist everywhere.
I got a lot more shit. You want me to pull anything back out to look at?
I guess we could do more Murphys. He said we had more of those.
I don't have any of them out. I meant shit we've already seen. Sean Murphy got enough shine for me today anyways.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, grab some more stuff.
Well, I can't grab more stuff because this shit is blocking my folder. What I meant is things I've already seen. Do we want to zoom?
To revisit? Yeah.
Yes.
Let me think. And I can edit out the clunky stuff too.
No need to edit.
All right. This is the raw.
We'll go back to my favorite drawing ever.
Yeah, I did want to mention earlier on that you can see like the edge of the zipatone there.
What about the zip?
That you can see the branding on the edge there, the part that's trimmed off by the cropping. I've never used traditional zip like that. That's always blown my mind.
Oh, this kind of Asian Japanese use of zip that he kind of went nuts with. It made it his own. All these clouds, how he does stuff. It's just, I like how it's always funny. I remember when Sean Murphy got popular, everybody started ripping off his faces and dry brush and boots. Every fucking buddy. And then
the noses, everyone was doing the nose.
Yeah, stupid fucking pointy nose on everyone. And then James Herron really took zip. You've seen me. I use zip here and there, at least in my older stuff. But usually has a small design element. Where you're using it now as tonal and design. This thing is like fucking painting with zip, and it's just freakish. You can see how he comes back with white to give highlights on top of the zip. If he didn't do that, this would be dead as fuck. But he just hits a few places. Here you can see him scratching out right there.
Yeah, because it's scratched out, right? Is it a combination of scratching it out, or is it white? Because I've seen him do it, and it's usually like an X-Acto.
Yes, he does both.
Okay.
He'll put a glob of white on, but then like with the X-Acto, you can see on the rocks right there, it's hatched.
I was looking at the arms, trying to tell if that was X-Acto.
That's a hatch.
Okay.
All this is hatch work, and then here with the clouds, I'm pretty certain that's brush.
Okay.
Like white brush.
Okay.
So,
wow.
Yeah. So
amazing. Yeah, I didn't discover hair until I was in SCAD, but yeah, he blew my mind at that point. Again, he definitely introduced me to the heavy use of speed lines, and
he pulls out the Odomos speed line like a motherfucker.
But I think it's so awesome though that he learned that from you initially, and then went like full Atomo with it.
I wouldn't say learned. He just was inspired by my goofiness. Because I was learning how to draw speed too. You know, I didn't fucking know. If you look at like Outer Orbit with Sean Murphy and me, I'm like drawing it. I'm ripping off Jason Pearson speed lines. And then by the time I get to the Cape, I'm starting to develop my own. And that's probably what triggered James. But it's interesting how something you don't even think about. Well, your struggles become other people's inspirations. Probably a better way to put it. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, James is probably the second most prodigal level talent I've ever met as a young artist.
That's incredible.
He's probably the second best, but also my favorite.
Yeah.
So
wow,
that guy can't draw a damn thing without me loving it. So
I'm there with it. And like his crazy, and his crazy bonkers anatomy, like his weird, like knotty arms and everything. Like
it's a fun animated style.
Yeah.
That's I don't know. I just fucking love I think Dave Johnson gave me shit on his show because he's like, "Who's your favorite young artist?" And I said James Hare, and he's like, "He ain't fucking young." And he's like, "He's young to me. He was a kid when I met him." So
yeah, right.
Don't ask a fucking question if you don't like the answer. Just joking. Dave's wonderful. So I met a lot of cool talent when I was young, or when they were young.
Yeah.
Nick Runge is the most purely talented artist I've ever met.
So with him and his current reputation, his current success, what do you think that piece would be worth? Because he's a big deal now.
I don't know, a few thousand.
Phew. Oh, that's a spot, man.
So, subject matter matters. It depends.
Of course.
But I have some of his actual comic book pages too, like his World War II story and stuff. And I mean, the guy's just a profound freak. Right now, I'm talking to him about doing a book about his formative years, when he a coming of age story. He rode the rails when he turned 18. He went and jumped on a fucking train and rode the rails around America, fighting hobos and not eating and all sorts. It's a crazy story. And I'm trying to get him to turn it into a story, and he's just starting to think about writing it because I think he's a little bored with watercolors.
Yeah.
He wants to only do oils, but watercolors pay the bills.
Yeah.
He was a little disillusioned from sequentials for a while, but he's trying to figure out, is it going to be a novel? Is it going to be a illustrated novel, or is it going to be a graphic novel? He hates the production. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, I could see anyone, like knowing him and his work.
I'm just trying to strong arm him into doing it, which isn't easy with Nick. It's been about 15 years now, and I've been trying to get him to do it, but now he's really close. I think he's at a point in his life that he's ready to return to storytelling. So,
that's so exciting.
yeah, I told him I'd help him whatever, whatever he needs me to be.
Yeah.
Because it's just too good of a story. And he's a buddy, so I'd love to
Yeah.
see him fucking do a whole coming of age book with his
Yeah.
fucking artwork in it,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So one time he
Wow.
tried to say, dude, if you draw it, Zach, and I'm like, okay, don't ever fucking threaten me like that.
No, no.
So yeah.
He's like super, super fast though, right? His watercolors, he just dashes those out.
Yes, they're basically glorified sketching.
Yeah.
You should watch him do it. Like, he'll be at my house when he visits. Like, we see each other about once or twice a year.
Yeah.
And he'll stay at my house for a night or two, and he'll work down here. I got to get one out. It's 5 minutes of drawing, 10 to 15 minutes of watercolor. Not everyone. Like, this piece is days, but because this is a giant one. See, there's my giant mitts. This is how big this fucking piece is. So Clara judges all depth and size of everything on my giant Flintstone hands. Like, most people put a dime for scale. She puts my big meat hook.
Go over here and put your hand next to this object so I can identify its size.
She has a replica of my hand that she uses for multiple things. Swatting flies, sizing things up.
It's like just this like clay mold with like the rough seams on it and everything.
Oh, I thought it was like neoprene.
Oh, okay, yeah. It could be fancier if you want.
Yeah, I don't know. There's got to be Fleshlight rubbers they have now. So all of our Fleshlight fans out there, let us know how good rubber is nowadays.
They do some amazing things in makeup effects, so I'm sure it's pretty good.
Clara doesn't know what a Fleshlight is. So,
shut up.
But I'm sure a lot of people just spit their coffee out on their faces. So that's it. I don't know what. Any
That's
questions?
amazing.
What's up, Claire? Because we don't have Patreons talking during this, and everybody can follow up with me on anything, and follow up with Claire about her Fleshlight collection.
Oh my gosh. What was I gonna say? Oh, okay. So you said that censored page was probably the most valuable one you had there. What do you think?
That's what JC tells me by a factor of probably like 4 or 5.
Okay. What do you think, in your estimation at least, would be the second most valuable?
This one right here.
That one right there.
But it's tough because it's a personal piece.
Right, right. Just in terms of the artist.
Yeah, I bet that. Well, the Mignola 2 ISOs are one of the early novels, and it's those 2 characters. I'm sure, that's worth a pretty penny. But all my Runge paintings are worth a lot. The Sean Murphys are probably worth. I'd be curious to see what Sean Murphy and I together are worth now.
Yeah.
Because both of when we sold all of our shit that we did together, we're both up and comers. So.
Yeah.
It'd be like $100 here, $100 there. And
well, hey,
now,
if the movie goes, you're gonna find out what that stuff's worth.
Yeah, we'll see. It's a long road. It's a hard go. People that know Outer Orbit, oddly enough, it's in the middle of being. They're trying to find a director and get dev money. Which, if they get that far, we're only one step away from a green light or pilot. So, we'll see. I'll have to contact, or I'll have my agent contact Sean at that time, and we'll figure shit out. I'm the faux controlling operator of that IP. So, I never expected anything to come of it, but fuck, 16 years later, Sean and I are different ilk, and I think, especially probably Sean's name, but we move the needle a little bit during meetings. So everybody's in a rush to get old IP, and that and the Cape are the only IP I didn't sell.
Right.
So, well, I technically own Heaven's Devils, but we all know what happened to the writer, so we're just going to shelve that.
Yeah.
But
that just goes to show you, 16 years later, you never would have. Like, I barely even knew that thing existed when you told me it was being optioned for a movie. It's like I vaguely am aware of that book you did with Sean all that time ago, but
it was popular for a hot minute. Our only goal, we came up with it just by when we used to work in the same office, it was just like Sean always asks a million questions, like, if you could do one thing, what would you do for comics? And eventually the we used to always make each other just fucking laugh all the time.
Yeah.
And we'd play old Nintendo Blades of Steel, and we just play old shitty video games and work all day for like Vertigo or whatever the books we're working on. And we just started coming up with our all-time, if we could just do one story, and it ended up being a comedy space opera. And we're trying to, since we're both kind of strong-headed personalities, we had to come up with a story where you could have two protagonists that were kind of equal. And that's how we came up with Quinn and Crunk. And they're telling their own version of the story to the viewer. So they each get to be the star of, their own section. And then it comes back in real time where I would pencil and Sean Murphy would ink it. And that was our unifying style for the real time scenes where they're playing poker. And then the whole third act was almost exclusively Sean and I together. So
that's incredible.
We broke up the storytelling like we broke up the artwork, and it just came together beautifully. Charlie Kirchhoff, a young Charlie, colored it.
Wow.
We actually were in talks with Happy Madison about doing a TV show with it, animated show, and with Adam Goldberg, I believe, who does Big Mouth now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then the writer's strike hit right before the contract signed, probably a couple weeks out.
Of course, yeah.
That lasted forever long it lasted. And when it came back, the deal basically wasn't there. We talked to Adam again, and he suddenly didn't fucking like us. And to be honest, he came up with the shit he pitched us was dog shit. It was like literally, it was everything. I don't know if he was on crack or something, but they were like trying to come up with a premise pilot for us. And it was like, Quinn and Crunk, now they're on the ship, but the ship has a personality. It's a gay robot personality. And then they have an assistant robot. Guess what? Gay and retarded. That was the comedy. And then like everybody in the damn universe was either gay or retarded. And that was his pitch to us. And Sean and I were like, fuck, we're used to being poor.
No.
So we wrote back and said, we don't like that one. We'd like to, change it. And then
no one else would have liked it either.
And then Adam went a little nuts on us, and because Sean and I don't know a fucking thing about anything, I guess. So
obviously.
And and that ended that. So I was never bitter. The guy came off like such a cunt, and he treated Sean and I like we were garbage.
Yeah.
And then our screenwriter, along with it, was having some truth issues. So Sean and I had to solve that. It was my first foray into Hollywood. And it went about as expected.
Yeah.
But I gave it to this freelance agent to work with. Sean went off in his career, and the screenwriter was no longer involved by issues 3 and 4, but he owns part of it, and he's a good dude. Perfection. Good. I mean, his credits are everywhere. His real name is Hans Rodionov. His literary comedy name was Reed Buchholz. But so if it does take off, I got to contact these guys again.
Yeah.
They'll be happy. Free fucking money.
Yeah.
So.
But
again, it's going to be a minor miracle to get to the finish line with this fucking one. Because all it is about space dildos.
And this was what you were like. What, in your 20s? You said with this one?
Oh yeah, Sean and I was probably like 28, 29, and. Sean's 5 years younger than me, so so we were stunned. The pitch became this first time I ever had a bidding war between two companies for the actual book, and Dark Horse ended up giving us like an advance every issue. We'd get like $3,000 or something like that, so we could pay the colorist and shit like that.
Right.
But it was a fairly it was a well-received book. I mean, it's not PC. There were some people that were pissed off, because people in our book accidentally die all the time. Yeah. Whether you're Girl Scouts, an art student, a barista, everybody dies if you meet Quinn and Kronk, and somebody, we can't believe you killed X, and it's just like everyone fucking dies ridiculously, and that's the point of it, because these guys are so self-consumed they don't really realize they're fucking everybody else's lives up.
Yeah.
But American comic book fans are often as smart as a fence post. So, and they have the projected opinions of I don't know, a QAnon supporter. So they're really fucking fun to interact with. Why did you do this? I don't know. Fuck off. We're trying to make you laugh. We're trying to make ourselves laugh. I don't even give a fuck about you. I'm trying to make me laugh. So, oh well, you know how it is. People take authorship of what you do and then get upset with you because you don't live their stupid Cheetos life. So
fandom is a very complicated thing. I definitely get that.
I'm better at it than I used to be.
We all are.
But yeah, I still get shit almost every day about something from somebody. You do enough books and suddenly with the fandom comes entitled cunts, and you get a lot in the comic book industry, which is sad. But that being said, the counterbalance that the fans that are good make up for every one of those shitty interactions you have with these entitled turds. So, that's about it.
I wanted to throw out one more thing before we wrap it up, because Outer Orbit is where your space friend moniker that you use for everything came from. Yes.
So Sean and I, we used to go into silly goof mode for hours a day, and just being kind of punk rock too. We couldn't think of the title. I mean, it was like Friends in Space. We were trying to play on everything.
Right.
So as a placeholder, until we figured out the name, we called it Space Friends, because that was the dumbest fucking thing. Like Super Friends. It's just so stupid.
It's the worst, yeah.
And we get a lot of flack from, my agent still says, remember when you used to call it Space Friends? Yeah, I still will. You look at the folder on my computer, it's called Space Friends. Fuck you. It just became endearing to me. We even turned it in at the last page. There's a joke about Quinn trying to come up with a name for themselves, and it's Space Friends and stuff, while a bird's shitting on Krunk's head. Right. And an elephigian. So half elephant, half pigeon. So those were the birds in Outer Orbit, elephigians. So, because they took massive dumps on you. It's bad enough when a bird shits on you. Imagine if an elephant bird shits on you.
Yeah.
It more than ruins your day. You may have to change your life after that. You may have to move, just become a new person. So, so anyways, yes. Don't hold your breath with Outer Orbit, the movie, guys. But the odd thing is we're moving along with it. It keeps making it to the next tier.
Yeah.
So we're
like they say, it's an honor just to be considered. So.
Well, I know losers say that. So well said, Clara.
You're welcome.
This participation trophy is pretty fucking cool.
It is. So, I'll be proud of it no matter what happens.
I'll put it next to my bowling trophy and, up on my shelf. There you go. Yeah, Sean Murphy and I used to be basically best buddies for about 10 years. So I was probably 6 months ahead of him in my career. We ended up just working together at first, because he was having trouble getting work, and I'd just taken off. DC was hot on me to do Batman, and in fact, I think he actually helped me with some of the breakdowns for the Nightwing 99 issue.
Oh, okay.
A drawing here and there, not a ton, but he did help me on that. We did a lot of shit like that back in the day, just kind of handing it old school style, hand it off. I'm working on this, and he doesn't have anything to do. He would go work on a breakdown for me or something like that, and it was really fun days, kind of interesting and innocent. We used to just play old NES games as a break, and then watch. I got him into Star Trek. He never watched Star Trek. He'd watch Bob Ross all the time, and I'm like, man, I've seen all the Bob Rosses. I like Bob Ross, but I can't do Bob Ross every day, dude. So
Yeah.
that was back when like Star Trek Next Gen would come on over lunch.
Right.
And he watched this one episode with me and it just floored him. He's like, that's better than fucking anything. And then he became a Star Trek freak.
You made him a Trekkie. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good work.
Poor guy. I influenced him a lot on that at that stage of his life, you know. So, you know, at that stage of your life, 5 years matters a lot.
Yeah.
So, I'd gotten into comics late and he got into comics early. So, you know, it was just one of those things. So we had a lot of fun there for a few years.
Yeah.
Till life got complicated. But yeah, there you go.
Well, there you go.
So I have a few cool friends in the industry.
Yeah.
And
you have a few cool originals as well.
And I do have cool originals.
You do?
And how are you, Clara?
I am well. I very much enjoyed seeing those. Those were incredible. Thank you for showing those off.
We're gonna have a middle finger in each screen here.
Oh, look at that.
Look at this.
You're a multi-talent. What can I say?
Thank you, Clara.
You're welcome.
So this has been another fun episode of me jabbering.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll get hate mail from Mike Mignola. And I don't fucking know what else. Don't blow up poor Sean Murphy about anything. We haven't spoken in years, so I have no clue what the guy's doing in his life. So
that was all good stuff then too. That was the good stuff.
Oh no, we used to be fucking best friends. I don't think I've ever had a friendship where we laughed consistently more than with Sean Murphy.
That's nice. Yeah.
I mean, it was almost all the time, but eventually, you know, relationships change. So that's life. I went on to my modeling career, and
which you're currently doing.
Yes. I can't count the money fast enough, everyone.
Yeah.
And Clara, we're trying to teach her how to brush her teeth and things like that. She's going to be ready for the world soon.
Yeah, because I apparently don't know how to brush my teeth.
Brush your teeth. You don't brush your toes. You don't brush anything, Clara.
I don't brush my hair. That's for sure.
Yeah, neither do I. Clara likes me so much. She, I'm not hiding a full head of hair here. Surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, Clara likes me so much. She's starting to get my hair cut.
Oh, so. Yeah. Definitely didn't precede knowing you in any way.
What now?
My haircut did not precede knowing you in any way.
You were retroactively inspired.
Oh.
Time is a two-way street, Clara.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There was a time jump involved. I see.
Not a jump. It just traveled both ways.
Oh, okay.
Don't break time cop laws. Jeez.
I can't go back in time, cut my own hair. I'll melt into a silver puddle.
You'll explode into really bad 3D dot animation or whatever the fuck it was.
Real rough.
Jean-Claude will come out and do the splits for you.
He'll show me the bottom of his shoe.
Remember when I showed you the glory, or I got you to invest in the glory of Bloodsport?
Yes, I do remember that, and it was still an incredible experience.
Mr. Jean-Claude dancing just for you, Claire.
No, you mixed it up with the other one. He dances in a different one. He doesn't dance in Bloodsport.
He does. He's with his date or something, I thought.
No, that's a different movie.
That's Kickboxer. Shit.
Yes, that's right.
Shit. Oh, God, Crom, forgive me.
He's wearing like that unitard and like
khakis.
Pants over, yeah, like cargo khakis over it, and like really high waisted, and it's like this unitard, like a lady aerobics instructor from the 70s. It's so strange.
Yeah, it's weird. I came too, Clara, so I don't know what happened. But I agree. That's excellence in cinema. So I train for fights, I drop coconuts on my stomach. I learned that. So anyways, I'm running out of words to say because I'm not doing anything, so I just feel like an asshole now. What do you think, Clara? You got anything poignant? You got a profundity of wisdom for us?
I have no profundities. I just want to say that I loved all that original artwork. I didn't know you had some of those incredible things, and I am very impressed, sir.
Yeah, those are some of my better pieces. I got other stuff, like I got a bunch of Woodrow Phoenix stuff, but most people have no clue who he is. British illustrator and comedy shtick guy, and does a lot of design work, though, so that's why we never see him.
Okay.
Yeah, I have things like that, and then more pieces from some of the artists you see, but I thought I'd pick out some of the best.
Well, you certainly did.
We good, Clara?
I think we are good. I think this was a good, fun time, and I hope it is a satisfactory bridge for the folks that are so kind in supporting us.
Cool. Take care, everyone. And just in case you missed the middle finger, there she is.
We love you.
And we love you all. And we got nothing else. Thanks for letting us give JC a breather while he handles his family stuff. And next, we got 3 major guests for our next BLU shows that are going to curl your toes.
Yes.
Claire's going to learn how to read and brush her teeth. In the meantime, she promises. And I don't think we have anything else. You wanna take us out?
Sure.
Miss Meath?
Well, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed. This has been a lovely time for both me and Zach and JC from afar. Thank you all, and thank you for your support.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.